What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 23 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 23 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,431 just yesterday, and another member who won $1,000 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Zachary Risacher, and this one is for 13.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now look at Zachary, we've actually seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Milwaukee Bucks. Now when it comes to the Milwaukee Bucks, they do rank pretty decent, as they do rank 12th when it comes to points allowed. Now a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here is that Zachary plays a forward position, mainly, and Milwaukee Bucks do a really good job at restricting points to the forward position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We see someone like Zachary going on the under due to the fact that when it comes to this matchup, we see a lot of the forwards, especially Zachary and also other forwards that lay at the team, really struggling, especially against some of the defensive prowess in that Milwaukee team, whether it's Giannis, Lopez, the list really does go on and on. But when it comes to someone like Zachary as well, a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here is that when we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor. So we are going to be following with what the bookies are saying there. Yes, when it comes to Zachary, he did have a most recent game against Cleveland where he had 30 points. We think that was a little bit of an outlier game. It's brought this line very high, but now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under here. So for that reason, Zachary Risacher for 13.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. Now getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Keyonte George. So Keyonte George, great player. However, we like the 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and this one actually is for less. Now look at Keyonte George. We've actually seen him go in the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, which is great to see, and they do face off against none other than the Phoenix Suns. Now look at the Phoenix Suns. We see that the Suns rank 19th when it comes to points allowed. Moving on into assists allowed, we also do see that the Phoenix Suns rank 14th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Suns rank 21. So the Suns interestingly rank, pretty mid-tier in all 3 categories. However, when it comes to Keyonte George, he is a guard, and Phoenix Suns actually do a really good job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the guard position. So even though, Phoenix don't really rank too well, when we look at a per position basis, we see Keyonte George is going to have some trouble in this matchup. Keyonte George also doesn't have that high of a usage rate in these departments. As you guys see, yes, he has gone on the over in the last 2 games, but we think those were a little bit of an outlier games. It was against easier teams that allow a lot of points, rebounds, and assists to the guard position. But now that they face off against Phoenix, who do a really good job against the position, we definitely see him struggling, especially since the fact that Keyonte George doesn't really have the highest usage rate in this Utah Jazz team. We definitely see that being taken advantage of, and we could see him go on the under there. Now his average over the last 5 is 28.2, so slightly above due to his most recent 2 games. But like I always mentioned, we do like the under. As we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so it works out in our favor there. So Keyonte George for 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists for less, I think is a great pick. Now getting to the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Ziaire Williams. So Ziaire Williams, great player, and this one is a fantastic one because this one is for 3-pointers. So this one's a bit of a different one, 3 points made for 1.5, and this one is for less. Now when we look at someone like Ziaire Williams, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than Miami Heat. Now Miami Heat rank, when it comes to 3-point percentages allowed, they rank 13th, so pretty good there. When we look at actually 3-point attempts allowed, we see that they rank 19th, so a little bit lower. And moving on into 3 points made allowed, we see that Miami Heat rank 19th as well. So a little bit mid-tier in all three categories. However, the reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when it comes to Ziaire Williams, you know, he doesn't have that high of a usage rate in the 3-point department. Yes, he hits 1 or 2, and that's why his average over the last 5 is 1.6, so just slightly above this line, but we don't really see him shoot a high volume amount or enough to see him be able to go over on this line. So that's why we do like the under here. On top of that, Miami do a pretty decent job, not only at actually restricting 3 points all around, whether it's percentage, mades, and attempts. So they do a pretty mid-tier job, but Ziaire Williams plays a small forward position usually, sometimes power forward, and Miami Heat do a really good job at restricting, you know, the 3-point shot, whether it's percentage wise, made wise, or also attempt wise, to the small forward and power forward position. So whether Ziaire Williams does play, you know, the small forward position or the power forward, we definitely see someone like him going on the under, and for that reason we are definitely sticking to the under for this one. So Ziaire Williams for 1.5 3 points made for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines, so here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Jaylen Williams. Now Jaylen Williams has been playing fantastic for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's been averaging 21 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5.1 assists, and also shooting 47.5% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for Oklahoma City Thunder, and when it comes to the Thunder, they do have themselves a very good matchup against none other than the Toronto Raptors. Now it is going to be a very exciting game. The Thunder do have a record of 40-9, so doing very, very well, while the Toronto Raptors have a record of 16-35. Now when it comes to the Raptors, we got a big one, because Raptors do rank when it comes to points allowed. They surprisingly rank, you know, pretty decent, a little bit more you know, on the lower side, but still pretty decent there, as they do actually rank 20th. On top of that, moving on into assists allowed, we also do see that the Raptors do rank 18th, and then rebounds allowed, we also see the Raptors rank, you know, pretty average, as they rank 13th. So a little bit of an interesting one there. I would say mid to low tier when it comes to Toronto Raptors, but for that reason we still do very much like the over for someone like Jaylen Williams. Now, Jaylen Williams has seen a huge increase in his usage rate as of lately. We've seen him get a lot more points, rebounds, and assists consistently throughout the, you know, season, and I think it is continuing to increase as he continues to have a bigger role for this team, and that's why we think we should see him be able to beat his lines pretty easily. On top of that, when it comes to this Raptors and Thunder game, Thunder are a pretty fast-paced team, and we actually expect Raptors to come up to the pace of Oklahoma City Thunder. So for that reason, Jaylen Williams will have a lot of volume and a lot of pace in that game, which really means a lot more volume to score, a lot more volume to rebound, and also a lot more volume to, you know, dish out assists. So for Jaylen Williams, we definitely see him being able to go on the over. He's coming off some great games over the last 5 games. He had a game recently where he had 24 points, another one 26, another one with 33. So he's been beating his line consistently, and we think that will continue on into this next matchup, especially against the Raptors here. So definitely keep an eye out for his line. Like I always mentioned, if the line is under his averages, definitely look to go on the over. So I definitely see a lot of great value there. Now getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about Jarrett Allen. So Jarrett Allen, great player from the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he's been averaging 13.6 points, 10.3 rebounds, 2 assists, and also shooting 70% from the field. So he's done a great job for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, they do face off against none other than the Washington Wizards. Now when we look at the Washington Wizards, we do see it is going to be an interesting game, as Wizards rank 30th when it comes to points allowed, 28th when it comes to assists allowed, and 30th when it comes to rebounds allowed. Now Wizards also have a record of 9-41, while the Cavaliers do have a record of 41-10, and we definitely see someone like Jarrett Allen being able to go on the over in this situation here, especially or specifically in the rebounding department. Now the reason why we wouldn't really choose points and assists, although Washington do rank very low, is that when it comes to scoring, it isn't really Jarrett Allen's, you know, main premise for this team. We tend to see him have a lot more of a higher usage rate in that rebounding department, and that also goes same with assists as well. A lot of his usage rate is in that rebounding category. So for that reason, we do very much like the over, but specifically for that rebounding. Now, on top of that, Washington Wizards also do a really poor job at restricting rebounds to the center position, which is what Jarrett Allen is. And the fact that he does rank 13th when it comes to rebounds out of all, players in the NBA, it definitely does show the capabilities of Jarrett Allen and that high of a usage rate that he does have. Now, the most recent game, they faced off against Detroit, and he was able to, rack up 13 rebounds, which I think was great to see. On top of that, when we look at the matchup between Wizards and Cavaliers are a little bit more slow paced, but Wizards, on the other hand, are a very fast paced team, and we tend to see them speed up slower paced teams. So for this matchup, we actually see Jarrett Allen, coming up, and the rest of the Cavaliers team coming up to the pace of Wizards, which should lead to a lot more volume and a lot more opportunity for Jarrett Allen to grab those boards. So keep an eye out for Jarrett Allen's line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially in that rebounding category. But like I always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line first. If it is under his averages, definitely look to go on the over. So I definitely see a lot of great value there. Again, to the next player, we're going to be talking about Bam Adebayo. So Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat has done a fantastic job all season, and he's been averaging 16.4 points, 10 rebounds, 4.6 assists, while also shooting 47.1% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for none other than Miami Heat. So when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets, they currently have a record of 17-34, while Miami Heat have a record of 25-24, so an interesting one there. But the Brooklyn Nets also do rank 14th when it comes to points allowed. On top of that, moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 21st, and then rebounds allowed, we also see that the Nets, rank pretty interestingly higher as a rank 9th. So a little bit of an interesting one there for Brooklyn Nets, especially for a team that hasn't really had the greatest record. But when it comes to the Bam Adebayo and the matchup against Brooklyn Nets, we actually see Bam Adebayo going on the over here. A big reason being is that Brooklyn Nets really struggle against centers, and they really struggle against centers on restricting points, rebounds, and assists. So the fact that they do struggle, we see Bam Adebayo being able to take advantage of this and going on the over here. On top of that, we have noticed or have known that Jimmy Butler has left this team of the Miami Heat. He is on his way to Warriors, and because of that, Bam Adebayo's usage rate will continue to increase as time goes on. And we think in this game, we should see him get a little bit more stats than we usually see, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. Now, for someone like Bam Adebayo, he does have a great usage rate in all three departments, so we see a lot of value there in all three categories.